Alright, first match coming up.
Makes you feel better. I just posted in Havoc chat, and so you'll get more viewers.
Alright, here's where we start. Millard, talk about why you chose this lineup.
We're just not talking.
It was just pretty straightforward. I wanted 2 Covenanters because you can use the bow first burst gun, which has good gold pen, as well as 2 two-shot bursts. So if you're trying to 1v1 something, that's really, really helpful. As well as bringing the Etzer and Samoa just to give you some one-shot derp ability. The M8A1, excellent long-range sniper, as well as having basically a tier 6 gun on a tier 4 chassis, and the T50 because it is a boss Russian tank. Beyond that, the skirmish requirements were we had to have a tank from each nation, so it kept it from being a T50 spam, I think, a little bit, or an all-headster spam. So anyway, that's kind of why we went with this lineup.
T50 spam would have been pretty potent.
Would have been hilarious.
Alright. And so, what about our layout? It seems some people probably think that we're kind of spread out a little bit. We've got one guy going way, way north. We've got some guys going towards the mid, and then we've got guys a little further south, but they're kind of cut off.
Yeah, honestly, as far as things go, I feel like this layout is actually pretty good. It allows us to support each other pretty effectively. You can see Rangers actually up here in the north, able to put shots on their T50 who rolled into that B line. Our M8A1 is in the north, but again, he can be supported by Rager, and our TDs that are up here in the north keep Ranger from being pushed, so it all kind of fits together in a jigsaw. And our guys in the south, they're kind of dorking around on the top of that hill, and that means that if they can keep that high ground, they're going to do just fine against attackers, as well as if things get too hairy, they can simply dump off the back, or we can have Rager flex over behind him and shoot to the middle. So we are a bit spread out, but I think the lanes of fire are actually set up pretty well, and each of us can support each other.
Cool. Alright, well for this replay, because we're also going to watch one from my point of view down south, the north seemed like it had its own little story behind it that's separate from the whole south. It seems like most of the fights happen to be split between the guys in the north doing their work and the guys in the south doing their work. And whoever won, which was usually in the south first, then would bring it north, or the guys in the north would bring it south. It seemed like in most battles it seemed to be south would finish their job and then north would get cleaned up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So Canada sits over here in the north behind his little rock, and I don't know, is Rager, you didn't have great shots, but I think Crimson ended up splashing him out with AG.
Yeah, he was partially behind the rock, so that all I could have was basically his track, which has been 0 crits. But I believe it's either Crimson or Gillen starts firing HE next to him, and then it eventually hits close enough and he just gets splashed to death.
Yeah, and then I think later we figure out that rock is kind of inferior to the one Cybern picks out.
Yeah, we'll see that next game whenever our M8 gets picked off after getting behind it.
The little guy.
Enemy is hit.
So it plays really, really slow. Here's where it gets splashed out, pretty much. And it is CMC.
That one bounced.
That is quite some splash out of that little tank.
There we go. Things are pretty slow in south right now. We had a little mini engagement that wasn't really caught on the camera. It left me with 36%, and it left their, I believe, Covenanter down around the 50% mark, so you should see us push that in a minute.
User left your channel.
Yep, and here's some nice crossfire coming in from Rager. But it seems like there wasn't really much you could do at all in the north, because anyone who would peek around would get derped instantly. I don't think we ever had much success making a good push, and Cybern really just had to get on the flank in order for anything to develop in the north. Which he eventually does move up.
At this point, it's really nice for us, because with that proxy spotting system, we can spot really effectively for Cybern, even if we don't have line of sight, as long as we're within 50 meters of the enemy. So we can hide out there behind a rock, behind a bush, whatever, and take free pot shots at these guys without really endangering himself, and we don't have to poke dangerously on the corners.
They're hit.
And there's the Hets are getting caught out. I've gone behind at this point, so we're about to get flanks, but at this point, the north is actually developing really well, and we're kind of winning it.
The spot on that Samoa, when we saw he was in his base, kind of tipped us off that he wasn't going to be supporting the north from the typical D9 area. That was kind of our cue that they wouldn't have anyone to protect them from a flank attack.
And that spot really altogether was kind of ineffective. I guess the only time it ever really had a big impact on any game was probably whenever someone would rush the north, because he would probably then get a good shot. But we never really, rush the mid, and we never really rushed the mid. So all in all, the Samoa was kind of useless in that position. He wasn't really helping the rest of his team, and I don't think he really contributed very much. So when it came down to him being the last tank, he just had to kind of make a final stand, and, well, we see how that goes. Alright, and that ends game 1, view from the north. I'm going to go look at my view, but at 2 times, so that we can see the match from the south.
Only if you do side by side.
Yeah, I can't really do a side-by-side. I can't launch 2 clients. If only I could. If only.
Yeah, the Watt replay system is kind of limited.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not that bad, though. It's fine. Alright, so now we've got it from my view. We're looking at the same setup. This is round 1 still. And I'm just gonna speed up real quick. And
Time to roll out.
down to 2 times speed. And I'm gonna just go to free cam because there's no way we're watching 2 times speed the way I drive. Which, every single game, little scout runs. Throwing my little tank into pillars. And right here, this Covenanter, who I'm not very familiar with, he actually kind of puts himself up there for free shots, but he wastes it, which is kind of sad. He wastes a perfect opportunity at free damage. And then I just noticed, I remember you guys killed Doppler right off the bat, which was really awesome.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Now we see the Samoa. I back off a little bit.
It's a great slide downhill.
That spot's interesting. Sliding down the hills is really hard to do, because if you can't do it quite right, you'll damage
User
your
left
tracks
your
and
channel.
track yourself, which I do right now. There we go.
Lost the track.
I slide down a little too fast and I track myself, but it's not a problem. Although this Covenanter, I don't know if the Covenanter is really the best tank to play the backside of the hill. It has nice gun depression, but it just, I don't know.
It's got pretty bad dispersion bloom and a really soft turret, so if 2 Covenanters cross the hill at the same time, both guys are going to be mashing the keys, but probably 60 or 70% of the shells are actually going to miss. So, bit of an RNG grenade.
Yeah. A lot of Covenanter fights, and I notice, we'll see in a later one, just the fact that you will miss randomly so many shots. Yeah. And I just take the backside. I stop going up top because that Covenanter is going to start spamming me. At this point, though, I try and go around to get into the backfield like I did in the first match.
Channel.
But, in 3, 2, 1... No, wait, this is the first match still, so... I don't...
it's the first match.
Wrong map. I'm thinking wrong. Alright, so I'm in the backfield now. I drive all the way around. And I'm yelling the whole time. Guys, I got flank shots. Just hold up. I got flank shots. I'm not even sure they noticed me. I even knocked down a few trees. Just to say I'm here. And I can't quite zero a shot, but then I
That's
eventually
got
User
him.
joined your channel.
He's gone.
free
Find
champions.
another target.
get. And there's a nice,
There we go.
nice free kill on a
Oh,
Hetzer.
no.
Shh.
And there we go. Covenanter tries to push me. No dice. But the Covenanter it's really is pre-aimed because you're gonna clip each other really fast.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so that's the end of first round. We're going to go back to the M31 again for round 2. I need to be smaller. Alright. Did they change the lineup for this one, or is this the same? I think for the second round they kept the same lineup. Yeah.
They dropped the dual Hetzer, I believe. Didn't they have the dual Hetzer before?
No, they kept the same lineup.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
They changed it third round.
Clearly we don't have Millard round for his memory abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they keep the same lineup for the second round, and they're just going to try and go business as usual, see if they can just beat us at it this time.
Let's get this show on the road.
I get nice spawns, but Gillen gets a crappy spawn. He's all the way over on the far side. And so I don't think our TDs are going to get into proper position in time for any kind of free damage or some nice, easy kills.
Cybrid spawn is also horrible, especially because we have him going to a rock in the north to try to gain some superiority there, and his spawn really, really hurts his odds here.
Yeah. So we probably could have called him back, but I think he tries to go there anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We see Savagey at base early this time, and then we see R in middle. And here we go, Lobster Monster gets into position really fast, right there, and he gets shots in Cyber, and so does Hazard, so he's got 2 tanks just hitting him, actually maybe even 3, I don't know if Canada has shots, but he takes a few hits getting into his position, and then I think just like last time, he's going to get pretty much sieged out of position there.
From my perspective, I took 3 in the middle of a big island, peninsula, whatever you want to call it, because I was concerned that River of Blood would make a bid for the middle and try to fight us there with 4 light tanks against 2, but turns out they didn't actually do that at all, and so it left us a little bit shortchanged up top.
And there we go, Lobster Monster eventually gets Cyber. And so we lose first
User
blood.
joined your channel.
And then here's
User
Rhaegar
joined
trying to
your
get that
channel.
corner. It seems like one of the easiest spots to get damage right there is trying to get the commander's hatches on their tanks from his cover, which is nice. He's got pretty much the best shots at the whole map on any position. And there's R again. I peek up pretty much to just see him and back down, so... But not much really goes on. It's a big dead time, because none of us, I don't think, really know what to do. There's no real game plan for what to do. No one sees anyone. No one's doing anything. Everyone's got kind of too hard of a camp to just break.
Yeah, having lost M8A1 up north, we're kind of in a problem spot. In a minute, I try to set... Well, I think about setting a trap for the Covenanter. It doesn't really work well.
Nope. Although you do see, you send Z-Slayer back over to his north flank, so there's that. Millard, you take some unfortunate shots. I think they're from over where Canada is, because he just like Rhaegar, has great shots all over the map.
This was the confusing right here, so I get down low and I'm kind of in cover, and then I get popped here in just a second by an invisible tank from behind. It's the Covenanter, I think, but
Yeah.
he doesn't